հաղորդման հովանավոր Dignity Health Glendale Memorial Hospital.
Being a doctor is one of the most honorable professions, and it's truly a privilege to be able to do this on a daily basis.
There's another aspect of medicine that we always forget about, and it's the mind and the interaction of the doctor with the patient.
When they're sick or when they're vulnerable, when they're in need, they need human kindness.
When we're treating a patient, we're treating the whole person, and that's hello, human kindness.
Բարի երեկո սիրելի բարեկամներ, այսօրվա մեր հայդակիրն է ընտրությունները և հատկապես նահանգային ընտրությունները և այսօրվա մեր հյուրն է Senator Kevin DeLeon-ը։
Senator Kevin DeLeon, Կալիֆորնիա նահանգի սենատի նախագահ, նոյեմբերի 6-ին կայանալիք ընտրություններում պայքարում է երկրի սենատում Կալիֆորնիայի ներկայացուցիչը լինելու համար։ Նրա հակառակորդն է սենատոր Դայան Ֆայնստայնը։ Սենատոր DeLeon-ը սենատում ներկայացնում է 24-րդ շրջանը, որը ներառում է Դաունթաունը և Իստ Լոս Անջելեսը։ Սենատոր DeLeon-ը մշտապես պաշտպանել է ամերիկահայերի և ընդհանրապես հայության շահերը, այդ թվում հայոց ցեղասպանության ճանաչման և Արցախի ինքնորոշման հարցերում։ 2014 թվականին ճանաչելով Լեռնային Ղարաբաղի անկախությունը, նա բուռն քննադատության արժանացավ Թուրքիայի և Ադրբեջանի կողմից։ Սենատոր Քևին DeLeon-ի ջանքերով կյանքի են կոչվել նաև համայն հայության և Լոս Անջելեսահայ համայնքի համար կարևոր բնույթ կրող մշակութային նախագծեր։ Հենց նրա նախաձեռնությամբ և աջակցությամբ Հոլիվուդի փառքի ծառուղում տեղադրվեց Շարլ Ազնավուրի աստղը։ Սենատի կողմից հաստատվեց հայ-ամերիկյան թանգարանի պետական ֆինանսավորումը։ Հայ ազգի 6 մասնագետներ նշանակվեցին նահանգային մի շարք ազդեցիկ ղեկավար պաշտոնների։ Ընտրություններին հաղթանակելու դեպքում Քևին DeLeon-ը խոստանում է Վաշինգտոնում բարձրաձայնել հայությանը հուզող կարևորագույն հարցերն ու խնդիրները և պայքարել հանուն հայոց ցեղասպանության ճանաչման և այլ հայանպաստ բարեփոխումների։
I'm the youngest child of a single immigrant mother. I can remember taking the number 34 bus, where my mom and I would get off the bus and we'd walk up to the homes on top of the hill. There, my mother would spend the vast majority of her day cleaning other people's homes. But it was there where I witnessed the value of hard work. This was a woman who worked her fingers to the bone. She was the woman who put the clothes on my back, so I owe it to this single mother, this woman, and millions like her, throughout the state, throughout the country, who do everything within their power to protect their children. But it doesn't make a difference if it's a Latino, African American, if it's white, if it's Asian American, if it's a racially mixed community. Poverty is poverty, and I think that it's incumbent on policymakers, on leaders, to provide real opportunities so everyone can succeed. That's what the country really wants. They want a job. They want a sense of security so they can provide for themselves and their family. If my mother hadn't made that bold, courageous decision to come here, I surely wouldn't be sitting here today talking about what the future should be like for a great state like California.
And we're going to have to fight like never before.
My name is Kevin DeLeon, and I'm running for the U.S. Senate in California.
Սեր պարագամներ, այսօրվա մեր հյուրն է Senator Kevin DeLeon-ը։ Senator, welcome.
Welcome. Badav, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm honored to be here.
Pleasure is with us. Why did you decide to run for probably the highest office besides the governor in the state?
I think these are very unprecedented times in our nation's history. These are very dangerous times in our nation's history. And I think that Californians want a voice of change, a voice of reason in Washington, D.C., to represent the values that we care deeply about as the most diverse state in the country, if not the entire world. I want to be that voice that's reflective of California today, not California of 25 years ago. And that's why I decided to become a candidate and be a voice of change for so many Californians who feel left out of this economy. We're the 5th largest economy in the world. However, this economy hasn't necessarily worked for everybody. And I want to be that choice. And hopefully if the people decide, I'll be their new voice in Washington, D.C.
But the congresswoman, the senator, been like an institution in the state for all these years. it's very difficult to beat an incumbent sitting U.S. senator.
Well, that's a very good point, because I think that being an institution in itself is not reflective of the amazing diversity of California. Being part of the establishment with the same old simply is not working for so many Californians who want access to clean air and clean water, who want access to quality health care, who want to raise the minimum wage, who want policies that deal with the existential threat of climate change, and want a representative in Washington that is reflective of our diversity here today in California. Listen, I can tell you this, that someone who's been in political power, such as the incumbent senator from Washington, D.C., Senator Dianne Feinstein, 25 years, a multi-billionaire, 95% name recognition. Many people would say, well, Kevin, good luck.
Yeah,
you're crazy.
That was my first reaction.
Yes, yeah.
What would you run against a sitting U.S. senator, been sitting there for 25 years, and pretty rich husband and herself, I think.
But it's the audacity of having the courage of your convictions, to not wait your turn and to stand in line. But if my mother didn't have the courage of her convictions to come to America, to come to California, like many Armenians from all over the world, whether from Armenia, whether from Lebanon, whether from Iran, whether from Syria or elsewhere, they had the courage of their convictions to come to America, to come to California. My mother, a housekeeper with only 3 years of formal education. She only went to the 3rd grade. And she was a woman who worked her fingers to the bone. She was a woman who was both mother and father, who put the roof over my head and paid the rent, to put the clothes on my back and food on the table. She had the courage of her convictions. And had she not come to this great country, this great state, the greatest state of them all, I would never have rose to become the president of our California State Senate. And today, actual candidate in the top 2, navigating a huge field of 32 candidates in the June 5th primary. And I'm in the top 2. That's having the audacity to challenge your convictions, to challenge and saying that the status quo is not working for us.
How would you do differently then? I mean, is she out of touch with reality?
Well, I can say this, is that I would never say...
She represents us, let's say.
I would say that I would never say that we should be patient with Donald Trump. And perhaps if we're patient enough, he will be a good president. How can you say something like that? Especially in a state like California. So that to me demonstrates a huge disconnection,
completely out of touch
with the people of California today. And that's what happens when you get very, very, very comfortable and cozy and you play by the country club rules of Washington, D.C. It works for some people, but it doesn't work for the vast majority of people. And that's why I think there are a lot of people who want a new voice, want a different change, someone who has represented Little Armenia for more than 12 years, someone who's worked with the ANC, someone who has rolled up their sleeves on the important issues that impact the Armenian American community here in California, because California is home to the largest diaspora of Armenians.
Yeah, that's correct.
From all over the world,
yes.
Right here in California. And Armenians have contributed so greatly, gastronomically, culturally, politically, academically, economically, is part of the backbone strength of our economy here in California. And if given an opportunity by the Armenian American community to be their voice, and that's why the Armenian National Committee, the ANC, endorsed me, and I am their official candidate of Armenian Americans out throughout California. If I have that voice, I will be that champion for them in Washington, D.C., and not allow the Azerbaijanis and not allow the Turkish government to bully or browbeat me in representation of the Armenian American community here in California.
Why Senator Feinstein is not retiring? I mean, the other senator, much younger than her, retired. We have Kamala Harris now representing the other side. Why she's like, how old is she? 87, 88?
85.
85. Okay, but still, in the 80s. Why would she still wants to run again?
Well,
over 90 years old.
I can tell you this. To me, it's not about age or ageism. No matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, you should have that right to run. It's about your values. It's about your principles. And those values and principles are out of touch from today's California. So
because she's way too stayed in Washington, doesn't know what's going on in the state.
It's the Washington culture.
Culture.
It's you get very, very comfortable in Washington, D.C., and you lose touch with the issues that matter most to California voters. And that's why I think this is good for democracy, to have more choices, because these elections, they're not coronations, they're not entitlements. These positions of vast power to positively impact the lives of other human beings, these are not entitlements. These are elections. They're not coronations. And that's why the people of California should have a different choice, a choice that perhaps, if they decide, would be their new voice in Washington, D.C.
Is the name recognition a big factor? Because she's been around such a long time. People in various parts of the state know who she is.
Well, she has 95% name recognition,
Right.
incredible recognition, no doubt about it. I don't have nowhere near the name recognition, but I have the belief in my values and the courage of my convictions to travel up and down the state of California. And guess what, Mike? When I talk to voters, even voters who voted for her June 5th, they convert and they say, it is time for change.
I mean, for years I was voting for her, and today I brought
understandably,
my.
yeah.
I mean, I
You have
changed
your-
it.
you have your
I
ballot,
have
yeah.
mine. I put Kevin De Leon. You're my guy.
Yeah,
I
thank
said
you.
we need a change. I mean, just the thought of having someone there like 25 years, that's enough for anyone to serve. I mean, it should be a term limit. I don't know why there's no term limit for senators, but I clearly put your name and I tell my people watching my show, please support this man. I mean, he's the right choice for our state. He's right for Armenians and the Armenian community. I mean,
Thank you.
I've
Thank
seen
you so much.
I've seen you many, many times in various Armenian events. You're an absolute champion for Armenian issues. We salute you for that.
No,
But anyway,
thank you.
we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about issues.
Sure.
What are the
We'll
issues
look at
you're fighting for and what you're going to do as a senator? So
Absolutely.
we're going to take a very short break and we'll come back. Սեր պայգամներ գազ չաթարմա վիդարնենք և բիդի վերատանակ մեր այդակրին։ Սեր պայգամներ, այսօրվա մեր հյուրն է Senator Kevin De Leon. Senator, what are your platform? What are the issues you're going to really fighting for or you will fight for in Washington, D.C. as a U.S. Senator?
I think some of the biggest issues right now is healthcare,
Right.
without question, and making sure that we have a healthcare system that's for all, not just for some. You know, we know we have so many folks who are not covered. Those in the private sector who perhaps HMO, whether it's Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Kaiser, many folks can't afford the deductions, the out-of-pocket, payments. We
Deductibles
have
and so forth.
deductibles and so forth. We have the public sector too, with Medi-Cal, Medicaid here in California. We have so many families that are being bankrupted because of the lack of affordability in terms of the bills. We're the wealthiest nation in the world, who spends more money per capita on the issue of healthcare, but our outcomes are not as stellar as they are in other countries. Healthcare is so important. The issue with regards to the existential threat to humanity as we know it today, the issue of climate change, which is so critical. I'm the author of 100% clean energy in California. That means we're going to decarbonize the grid in California by the year 2045. An issue of immigration reform. We have so many families who come from all over the world to the greatest country in the world, the greatest state, California. And quite frankly, we have politicians in Washington, D.C. that have betrayed American children, because these American children are
They're born in this country.
the sons and daughters, exactly, the sons and daughters of mothers and fathers who have yet to be able to normalize their legal status, because you have cowards in Washington, D.C. that not demonstrated the courage of their convictions to do the right thing and move forward sensible, fair immigration reform. Now, it doesn't make a difference if you're Chinese or Mexican, if you're Armenian, if you're from England, wherever you may be from the world. You should have a real opportunity to contribute, as many immigrants are today. And that's why we have to have a voice in Washington, D.C. that will elevate these positions, even if we're in the minority and the majority continues to be Republican. It doesn't make a difference. Because I know there's a lot of Republicans too who I've spoken to personally, who says that they want to do immigration reform, healthcare, climate change, our environment,
I mean,
immigration
issues,
reform.
not only Republican issue, Democrats issues for the country.
Absolutely.
As
This
Americans.
helps grow your economy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You will, let's assume, because every article or polls I'm reading, that the Republicans may keep the Senate and may lose the House. But if you're elected to Senate, won't that be a challenging thing? Or are you going to try to work with the Republicans
I'll tell
on
you
the
one
other
thing.
side of the aisle?
Yeah, I've had a lot of experience working with my Republican colleagues and friends. I have many Republican colleagues and friends in the state capitol who I respect greatly. We may not agree on all the issues, and that's okay. We may not share the same values, but that's okay. But, as long
But
as
at
we
least you can work
treat
on
them with
common grounds.
respect, we can find common ground on issues that impact the human condition in a very positive way. And to me, for example, there's so many different ideas and concepts for healthcare. Some are public option, some is the ACA, others are Medicare for all, others are single payer, many different options.
Trump just come recently, I think yesterday, he said he's against Medicare for all, which I thought it was a good idea, Medicare for all, but he said no to that.
He's against Medicare for all, that's very clear. I support Medicare for all. I think that having a universal a system that currently Medicare for all works very well. I should say Medicare works very well.
It's a great plan.
It's a great plan. It works. People are happy with Medicare for all. And at the end of the day, healthcare is healthcare. So if you are a Trump supporter, a Hillary Clinton supporter, or a Bernie Sanders supporter, healthcare is healthcare.
Yeah.
You don't want your healthcare delivered through an emergency room.
Yes,
especially
that's
of
the
a
most
public hospital.
expensive.
That is the
to
most
deliver
expensive.
the care through ER,
Yeah.
which care is very, very expensive.
And how many families we know get their health care through an ER room because they can't afford the co-payments, the deductibles, or
they
they don't
just
have,
show up in ER when
Yeah.
the condition is worse.
when it's worse, and that's when it costs much more money. And as you say, as an expert, healthcare coverage through an emergency room is the most
expensive
It's the
care
most
we can
expensive.
deliver.
So I can work with Republicans and look forward to working with Republicans on the issues that matter most to Americans, to Californians.
But aren't our economy better under this president?
Well, I'll say this, is that the standard...
I mean, look at the unemployment rate. It's the lowest it's been for almost 48 years.
But
I mean, especially, the stock market. I was going to say stock market, but it crashed the last 2 days.
I was gonna
but
say,
overall,
yeah.
economy is in good shape.
Well, I was going to go to the stock market and, to S&P 500. I don't think these are good benchmarks to sort of measure objectively the health of an economy. Because if you have, when you made reference to, which is a very good point, unemployment rate that is low. But if you have working families working 2, 3, 4 jobs
Trying to ends meet.
to make ends meet, that's also another sign that the economy is not as strong for the vast majority of working families. How many folks do you know that perhaps are working a day job and are a taxi cab driver or Uber or Lyft driver, and then they have another job afterwards? They're struggling to make ends meet. They don't have health care. They don't have retirement security. And with a service-oriented economy, that makes it very difficult for families to survive. Employment may be high, unemployment may be low, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we have a lot of Californians, a lot of Americans that possess high wage paying jobs. And that's why we have to have a different type of economy. I believe strongly in the clean energy economy, for example.
Sure,
we have 500,000 jobs in the clean energy space. That's 10 times more jobs in clean energy in California than there are coal mining jobs in all of America. So it's a quality of your job.
Yeah, exactly. Have you debated the Senator Feinstein?
We have not debated.
Why not?
I have asked for debates.
She refusing to debate you?
She has turned down numerous invitations from all the news media outlets, from the major universities for a debate. There will be a conversation that we will have
Before the
together.
election?
Before the election, next week,
One,
Wednesday. Yes. It is not debate rules. It'll be a conversation. We'll be on the stage together. I wish it would be debate. It'll be in San Francisco. I think that regardless of people vote for me or not, The last time she had a debate was close to 2 decades ago. 18
So she
years
hasn't
to be
done no
exact.
debates in the last 24 years.
Yes, well, in 18 years. To be
18 years,
specific.
okay.
Yeah, 18 years to be
But
specific.
she's been a senator for 25
yeah,
years.
Yeah, and I think that the vast majority of Californians know her. They know who she is, but they don't know where she stands on the issues. And I don't think that's good for democracy. It's not good for the voters of California. When you have a choice, you want to be able to have a debate before the voters, live television, so you can get the largest number of voters to witness this event and see where you stand on where I stand, where she stands on
issues.
on our vision, on our values, and what we do if in a position of power to effectuate change for the people of California. At the very least, we both owe the respect to the voters, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, or decline the state. It doesn't make a difference because I'm working hard to get the votes of all the voters of California, regardless of where they are on the political spectrum.
Why she's not debating more than once?
You know, I don't know. You know, I can't speak for her. And
what do you think?
Well, they say she's very busy. They say that she doesn't have time. To debate.
Is she ahead in the polls? Maybe that's the reason.
Well, I mean, we are close now in single digits now. So when you're close in single digits, it's something that you do owe the voters. It may sound overly political on my part, saying I want to debate, I want to debate, I want to debate. You know, which I get it. You know, but at the very least, you do owe the people of California, the respect that they deserve, and that's why we should debate. In fact, I've offered to go to Stanford, her alma mater, and debate her there. And we could have a debate at my alma mater, the Claremont Colleges, Pitzer College. I said I'd go to her home turf, Washington, D.C., and go debate her there. But we won't have a debate because they did not agree to debate rules. So we're going to have what they call a conversation.
Conversation next week.
Yeah, next week, Wednesday, which will be at lunchtime, which I think was unfortunate because who can afford to go to a lunchtime conversation? Only certain folks, the elite. The vast majority of folks work, and they don't get off work until 5, 6, 7 p.m.
Televised? People can watch it on television.
My understanding, it will be live streamed. You know, it's my hope that a news outlet will want to televise it live.
I see. We're going to take another break.
Yes.
And when we come back, we're almost at the end of our second half. We're going to come back and we talk about your vision for California. Which is more important than anything else. Thank you. Սեր պայգամներ գաս սաթարմը բիդարնենք և բիդի վերատանակ մեր այդակնին։ Սեր պայգամներ, այսօրվա մեր հյուրն է Senator Kevin DeLeonը և իր ընդրաբայքարը նահանգին համար։ What is your vision for California as a potential or future senator for the state? This great state, as you said, is one of the largest economies in the world, very powerful, diverse, progressive state.
My vision for California is for continued economic growth, but with high wage paying jobs for everybody, so everyone can participate and be part of this economy. It's about clean energy and making sure we attack the existential threat to humanity, which is climate change. Healthcare for all. Not healthcare for some, who perhaps
every Californian.
Not just healthcare for some, but healthcare for all. Today, as you know very well, we spend $3.3 trillion on healthcare, both public and private, on an annual basis. We waste so much money, and we have lack of transparencies with the health outcomes and cost containments that are very important. This is a critical issue. Immigration reform. We are home to the largest number of immigrants from all over the world, right here in California. We are home to the largest number of dreamers, DACA, naturalized citizens, legal permanent residents, as well as TPS, temporary permanent status for Salvadoran immigrants. We have the largest number of immigrants right here. We're the home to the largest diaspora of Armenians from all over the world.
The biggest diaspora.
The biggest one.
Armenia.
And yet we don't have a real voice that champions this issue in Washington, D.C. And that's why I want to be that champion. I want to be that voice for Armenian Americans on the critical issues that impact, a beautiful country, such as Armenia. The controversies that we deal with, the Azerbaijanis and the independence of
Or Turkey,
a great
I mean,
or
for not
Turkey.
recognizing the Armenian
Or not-
genocide.
this is an issue that I've worked on since day one, without the recognition of the first genocide of the last century. Issues dealing with Nagorno-Karabakh, and I took a position back in 2014, and the Azerbaijanis and the Turks got very upset with me when I recognized, the independence of Nagorno-Karabakh. And these are issues that are important to me. They're important to the Armenian American community.
Because you represented a
I
very
represented
large
Armenia.
Armenian community.
And then when you see the
In Hollywood,
yeah, in
I mean, that's where
Hollywood,
I grew up.
yeah. I know the Alex Pilipis School very
Phillips
well.
was, it was 2 streets away from where my house was.
And you went to Hollywood High School, so you're a
High
chic.
school,
No. And Hollywood 101 freeway, when you see the sign that says Little Armenia,
Right.
next exit, I put that sign there.
Yeah, I always see it
Yes.
on the way. I say,
And when
wow.
you're going North Hollywood
Thank you,
or you're going
Senator.
South Hollywood, I put that because it was important that people know that Little Armenia exists, not just for Armenians, but everybody.
Because that's the first hub for immigrants.
Is right here.
mean,
And then
it's
make a
right
little
here.
money, and then you go to
You go,
Glendale,
yeah, Glendale or
Cayeta
to Hollywood,
Flint
North
Ridge,
Hollywood.
You go to North
That's
Hollywood.
what we could
to the
afford
Valley.
right there.
Yes, but everyone comes in the diaspora, everyone comes here to Little Armenia. To me, that's why I've been so proud to represent Little Armenia and make sure that I take Little Armenia with me. So Little Armenia is with me in the state capitol every single year. It's with me every day. If I become your voice in Washington, I take Little Armenia, and not just Little Armenia, but all of the Armenian American community in California, Democrat or Republican, don't make a difference to me. I take them to Washington. So it's not just me who goes to Washington. We're all going to Washington together.
Together
Yes.
as a community. Any specific legislation you're thinking if you're elected to?
Yes, I want to be a co-author of Medicare for All. I want to
Medicare
move
for all, okay.
I want to move 100%.
Which is a great plan, by the way,
Yes.
being a healthcare guy. I mean, I always thought why there is no Medicare for everybody Medi-Cal in this state it really serves a purpose of the poor, the uninsured, the underinsured. It's so vital. I see it. I see these patients. And having that Medi-Cal, whether they're eligible or in it, or at least they're trying to get it, it's really helpful to people.
Yes, absolutely. I want to move 100% clean energy. I did it here in California. By law, we have to decarbonize our grid by the year 2045. What that means specifically is when we turn the lights on, when we cool the room because it's hot, when we heat the room because it's cold, when you use your coffee machine, your washer, your dryer, your hair blow dryer, the hair straightener, the refrigerator, everything that's powered by electricity has to be from 100% clean, renewable energy. And that will grow this economy. And energy efficiency, which is my law in California, every hospital, every private house, apartment building, high rise, universities, highway patrol stations, every single building in California must be energy efficient by the year 2030. Can you imagine all the jobs that we're going to create? Because these are jobs that are labor intensive.
Much higher.
It must be done physically on site.
physically.
And then I want to move legislation on immigration reform. We have to get this off the table. We have to give the ability of these working families the opportunity to be American citizens. And like I said, we've betrayed the American children. We've betrayed these children by not normalizing the status of their mothers and their fathers. Children who live in fear, who live in panic because they don't know if ICE agents, if immigration agents will
show up at their door
will
one
show up
day.
at the door, knocking at 4 a.m. And this is what's happening today in California. That's why I want to be the voice of change. I want to be that progressive voice for the Armenian American community, for all of our communities, whether you're white, Latino, African American, Asian American,
You can
racially
represent
mixed,
all
for
of us.
everybody. It's a beautiful mosaic. It's a beautiful tapestry of different ethnicities. And that diversity is the strength of who we are in California. Without the culture of Armenian Americans in California, we are weaker as a state because Armenian Americans enrich who we are politically, academically, gastronomically, educationally, economically. with so many Armenian Americans who are incredible entrepreneurs, who are business owners, small, large, and medium, and someone like you who is the president of a large hospital system here, not just
And
in California,
I came as a young
but outside the
immigrant
country.
with $0 in our pocket. The
You
greatness
are
of
the
this
American
country.
dream coming from Beirut, Lebanon.
Beirut, Lebanon. During the war, and my father's business was demolished. Our house we couldn't sell, and we can barely survive. To just the airline tickets to land here, and this is the greatest country on earth.
You are a product. You are an American dream.
And I'm so thankful to this country. I love this country. I adore United States. I adore California because that's my dream.
Yes.
The California dream. We want to bring it to everybody.
We want to bring it to everybody.
And I salute you for that, and I support you for that. But unfortunately, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to wrap it up and,
Okay.
and your dream and what you're asking the voters to do.
Thank you.
Okay. Սեր պայգամներ, գազ ծատարմը բիդարնենք և բիդի վերատանակ մեր հայդակին։ Սեր պայգամներ, մեր հյուրն է Senator Kevin Dillon-ը, բայց Senator-ին խոսել են առաջ կուզեմ ցեզի ցույց տալ, ես արդեն ստացա իմ vote-իս և ասոր մեջը ցեզի ցույց պիտամ United States Senator, okay, շատ հստակ Kevin Dillon marker-ի և պիտի vote-նեմ իրեն, որտև ասմարտը հայության, հայերուն բարեկամն է. He's a friend of the Armenian community. He's a friend of Armenia. He's the greatest ally and friend to us. So I salute him for that. Please join me in voting for him in this November election.
Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Yeah, we value you. We support anyone who supports us as a community, and I'm a member of this great community. We are very, very thankful to your efforts and what you've done for Little Armenia and to Armenian community at large in California. What is your how's the campaign going, by the way?
It's going well. We're working hard. We're not a very rich campaign, so we have to roll up our sleeves.
So
and,
you work
and we have
harder.
to travel up and down the state of California and talk with voters. And they're excited. Young people, college students are excited. I was at UCLA yesterday. I was at UC Berkeley, a few weeks back. Young students are excited. Latinos are excited. Armenian Americans are excited. And these are very exciting times. They really are. And my campaign is, the old Davy and Goliath. Yes, I am Davy. And the current incumbent is Goliath, without question. But we've done incredible things before. We've made history before. And if I'm elected, I'll be the first Latino in
to
the
serve as
history of California to serve as U.S. Senator in Washington, D.C.
Did you have any doubt when you were first thinking running for this office that, wow, she's there, she has money and power, so I'm going to take on. Did you have any doubts in your mind?
But let me tell you something, Mike,
because I like that. I really respect someone saying, look, I'm going to change this. And you took that step.
Yeah.
And that's to me, you're my guy.
I can tell you this, is that the odds have always been against me.
I know, that's what I'm asking. I'm
always,
surprised.
So when your mother went to the 3rd grade and you're the only one to graduate from high school, when you become an assembly member representing Little Armenia, and then a state senator, and whoever thought I would become the president of our California State Senate, and now in the top two with a multi-billionaire. That's the way you love America and this great state. That's what makes California such a magical place, that someone from Lebanon, in a war-torn country at that time, 14 years of age, with no money in his pocket, would come to California, go to Hollywood High School, get your master's degree, get your PhD, start your career in the healthcare system in a hospital that serves a largely Mexican immigrant population in Boyle Heights, rise today to become president of a large hospital system.
$5 billion company.
Of a $5 billion company.
It's only in America.
Yeah, only in America. So our
only
story.
In California.
Only in California. That's our story. And that's the story of so many Armenian Americans who have the audacity to challenge the status quo.
Yeah, we don't want status quo.
Yeah,
we don't want to change.
Status quo. We want to say, we can do this. We can do this. And together, if we come together, and if all of my Armenian American friends tell their neighbors at church, their loved ones, their family members, their friends, their co-workers, their workers, we can change this. We can create history.
Any doubts in your mind? Did you ever any doubts when you were thinking about this?
Well, this is tough. There's no stretch of
It's
imagination.
tough. I know that. That's
Yeah.
the reason I'm asking
But
that question.
but I believe in the people. That's why I do this. When you're in office, you don't make a lot of money.
No,
you know,
no,
my
not
salary
in
is my salary. That's what I make.
It's
I
disclosed,
don't
yes.
make more than what I get. You know, I know that good things don't come unless you fight for it, because they're not going to be given to you.
Right. It should not be handed to you. You're going to earn it.
And it's not going to be, power is never given to you. If you feel that your position in the US Senate is an entitlement, that it belongs to you and nobody else, they're never going to give it to you. And if you're waiting in line, thinking that perhaps one day they will choose you, select you, then you're going to be waiting in line for a long time, maybe all of your life. That's why you have to have the audacity and the courage to say, I believe in myself. I believe in the power of the people of California. I believe it's time for a change. And I believe if given an opportunity, the people will say, we have a different choice. And they'll exercise that decision come November 6th.
We're almost at the end. What about some Armenian issues? Would you, I mean, it really frustrates me seeing Senate and Congress, you know, not passing the recognition of the Armenian genocide. That really, even though we get votes and everything always shuts down, and no president. And I talked to President Obama personally when I met him almost 4 years ago, 2014. In person, I talked to him, and I asked him to because it was the 100-year anniversary was coming, and he made it sound like he is for the Armenians. He wants to do it, but Turkey is an ally. He keep telling me. I told myself, Mr. President, you're the President of the United States. You know, you can recognize it and end of this thing. I mean, end this. So would you advocate strongly and passionately the Armenian genocide, which is such an important thing for every Armenian on this globe?
I've done that every single year in Sacramento, in our state capital, where I've always received the ANC with open arms, proudly, in the state capital. And that's what I intend to do in Washington, D.C. Now, I know that Turkey plays a strategic role for the U.S. military and our interest in the region. But Armenian Americans, they're our friends. They're our brothers and our sisters. And when they are hurt, or if there's an injury to them, it's an injury to all of us. So we've had so many genocides. We've had the genocide of the Holocaust. We have the Cambodian genocide with the Khmer Rouge. We've had the Rwandan genocide with the Hutus and the Tutsis. And we had so many other genocides happen, sadly and tragically. The first genocide of the last century was the genocide of the Armenian people.
Because to us, that's like an open wound.
Yes,
even though it
it's
happened
raw.
100 years ago.
It's painful.
It's just very painful.
Because you want recognition, you want validation, you want those wounds to be healed. And
it's
when
not
those
healing
wounds
when
are not healed for political purposes, when they're not healed, that's when you have the anger, you have the upsetness that's within inside because of great-grandparents who died, the elderly, the young children who starved on the long march, who died of dehydration, who died of starvation. Yes.
My grandmother and grandfather, we were talking about the air base in Turkey, in Adana. That's where my grandparents are from. That land belongs to Armenian land. That was U.S. Incirlik Air Force Base that's sitting there. They were shipped all the way to Derzor to die, and half of the family died in starvation. They survived. The French came, rescued them. At the end of the war, they survived the Armenian genocide. I mean, to us, it's personal, even 100 years later.
Yeah, it's
very painful to us.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with the late, Charles Aznavour.
He just
may
passed
he
away,
rest in peace. He just passed away. And I had the honor with my deputy, Baitzar Tomasian, the mayor of Hollywood, you know. I advocated for a recognition on the Hollywood Boulevard to give him a Hollywood star on Hollywood Boulevard. And we gave him that recognition of that star when he came in from Paris. And I had lunch with Charles Aznavour, and we sat together during lunch and we talked about his family who were victims of the genocide and how he ended up in France. And although Armenian, you know, grew up in France, and the tragedy that his family members went through too. And Charles Aznavour is an international hero, a man who, though French citizen, in his heart and his soul, was always Armenian and proud of being Armenian. And the tragic stories such as yours and millions of others who lost family members in this genocide, the heinous genocide. So what makes this so difficult and so painful, so raw, is when a government won't even give you the dignity and respect by acknowledging this grotesque atrocity and acknowledge and being respectful and dignified and saying, we recognize and we apologize. Let's heal our wounds. Let's move forward together in humanity so we can heal these wounds together. Let's find common ground. And when you find a government that does the opposite, quite the opposite, that's why there's so much angst, so much anger, so much hurt, so much pain. And that's why every year we will continue to recognize the genocide until it is officially recognized.
I had one last point, and we're going to wrap it up. I had a physician who was a Turkish, and he wouldn't come and talk to me for a long time. Finally, he asked my secretary for an appointment. He came and talked to me last April 24th, just the day before. He said to me, myself, as a Turkish citizen, we recognize it, we know it. And every person in Turkey knows that, except our government, he said. I want to apologize for you. You know, if this is not the government I represent. Our government is wrong, and the people in Turkey recognize the genocide. We're sorry that happened to us. That made my day that day.
Yeah, that's very powerful.
Powerful message.
The power of humanity of this Turkish citizen who, as an individual, recognizes it. Yes.
Senator, I want you to be a U.S. Senator. We wish you well in your campaign. You're going to succeed, and the Armenian American community will support you. Thank you for everything
Mike,
you do.
thank you very much. It's an honor to be here today.
Absolutely, it's honor us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Սիրելի բարեկամներ, եկեք միասին հաշարչիկա ընտրություններուն ոտնենք մեր լավ սենատորին, մեր լավ բարեկամին Քևին Դրիոնին եւ հաջողություն կմաղթենք իրեն։ Գիշեր բարի։
Հաղորդման հովանավոր Dignity Health Glendale Memorial Hospital